Let's have an honest conversation about how many rulers and templates you actually need. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing and crafts fun and approachable as we move into the new year. I really want to just have a conversation about decluttering, about what you actually need, because I'm going to be real with you, my house looks crazy. I have way too much stuff I've accumulated over the years, and I'm seriously looking to destash a lot of what I have, which will be something I will be doing with you all here on the channel. So I want to get into the topic today of acrylic rulers and templates. Now, this is something that sewists and quilters, these products are heavily marketed to us. Everybody seems to have a template or a tool or something they're selling, and I want to kind of get into some of the items I have and what I actually use, because right here I have probably at least 20 rulers and plastic or acrylic templates. Out of all of these here, if I had to be really honest with myself, I probably use 2 on a regular basis. So if I lost all of these rulers today, the 2 rulers I would actually purchase again. My number 1 would be this one. This is the Creative Grids 8.5 by 24 ruler. Let's see, yeah, 24.5 by 8.5 inches. In my opinion, if you can only buy 1 ruler and you do sewing and quilting and you don't really do a lot of clothes, I think this one would be my number 1 pick. Also, before I get into this, I also want to let you know, if you are looking into Creative Grids rulers, this is my favorite brand of quilting rulers and templates. They have a really great grippy material on the back, so it really doesn't slide around on the fabric. Do not buy these on Amazon. Creative Grids does not allow any of their retailers to sell these on Amazon, and there have been a large amount of counterfeits floating around, and Amazon does something called co-mingling inventory. So what they do is they all send their inventory to Amazon, and then Amazon will fulfill their orders. It's called Fulfilled by Amazon. They commingle inventory. So whoever sends an inventory of these rulers, they mix them all together. A seller that sent in legit items to Amazon, their customer may get a counterfeit. So I just wanted to warn everyone, buy these from an authorized retailer, and just know that Creative Grids is not allowing anyone to sell these products on Amazon. I couldn't even get approved to buy these wholesale because, you know, I don't have like a brick and mortar store. So just a warning for everyone. So this would be my number 1 ruler. My number 2 is actually this cheapy flexible plastic ruler. This is about 2 inches by 18 inches. And I think I got this off of Amazon. Everything I can, I'll try to link below. But I use this a lot for marking things up. Like if I need to mark, 2 inches in, I'll use this ruler. You've probably seen me use this ruler a ton at the embroidery machine to mark the center, to mark center lines vertically and horizontally. And I also use this a lot when I am drawing lines on my stabilizer so I can float items in the hoop. So this, there's so many different brands. You can just buy any one. These are like seriously cheap. If I had to just have 2 rulers or templates, these would be the 2 I would have. Now, you can see there are way more than that here in front of me, and I've just been kind of evaluating what I have, and most of this stuff, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't use and I don't need. Some of these things I kind of purchased as an impulse buy. Some of these items I was given or sent. Others came in quilting subscription boxes, and I think at least 1 or 2 I got included in some type of class or workshop as one of the materials you needed, but it came in the price. If I did more clothes, I actually think I would use this more. It's called the Fit and Fashion Styling Curve. I'm not even sure if you can buy these anymore. I bought it from a lady who was doing a workshop on altering sleeves and garment patterns, but I think she may have ran into some issues or something. But if I can find these, I'll link it. But this actually is pretty cool. You can use it to alter patterns if you need to take something in or whatever. And they have these like little mark lines, so you can easily, mark it at 3/8 of an inch or 5/8 of an inch, which are pretty typical seam allowances. But it has like kind of a flatter edge, and then it has a curved edge. I actually do like this tool. I think I've used it a few times. Not a lot. These other ones, man, I honestly just don't need these. Again, I don't think I've used most of these tools ever. Like for one example, so I saw a video showing you how to use this little binding tool template. Now again, this is cool, but I think I used it once, and then I found a different way of doing bindings that was easier for me and didn't involve any templates, so that's why I haven't used this one. So I just think in many of these situations, I bought the tool, but then I found an easier way to do that particular thing without needing the tool, so then I didn't end up using the tool. This is another Creative Grids ruler. This is a 60-degree equilateral triangle ruler, and I did make a triangle quilt, so this actually was handy in cutting out all of those pieces. So my advice to you, if you're a new sewist or a new quilter, I don't think you need to start out buying a ton of different acrylic tools and templates. I would maybe get like one really solid quilting ruler that's like pretty long, so you can cut your fabric, you can cut straight edges. But that's the thing, like this is an 8.5 inch square ruler. I could use my rectangle ruler to do the same thing. Is this one easier? Yes, but if I only need to cut like one or two 8.5 inch squares, then I don't necessarily need this template. Now, if you're making a whole quilt full of 8.5 inch squares that you need, you're going to be doing like 100 of them, then at that point, I think it does make sense to purchase the template or ruler if you know you're going to need to trace or cut out a lot of that one thing. Like if you sew to sell and you get an acrylic template of a pattern you use all the time, I think that is actually a worthwhile investment. But if you're only making something like once or twice, I don't necessarily think you need to run out and buy the tool or the template. This ruler is huge. What is this? This is a 12.5 inch. I barely use this. The only time I really use this is if I'm squaring up a quilt. As you can see on the sewing report, I have not made a quilt in a while, so my need for this ruler has been pretty low. So I use this in conjunction with the rectangle ruler to kind of make square edges and then trim my quilt after I'm trim my quilt after I'm done quilting it. This one really doesn't get much use at all. Again, I gotta figure out how to destash stuff because I'm looking at all these tools and templates and so many of them I've never used or I maybe have used once. Another thing you can do is if you want to have like a better template or pattern than just the paper, but you also don't necessarily want to splurge on an acrylic tool, this is actually a free Drunkard's Path template I found online, and they had a printable PDF. I think it's from Mary Fawn's. Printed out the templates, I glued it onto like a piece of cardstock or cardboard, and then I cut it out. So this actually was free, basically free. I just used a spare piece of cardboard I had laying around, and now I've got two very usable templates, and this costs nothing. Plus, if I throw these away or whatever, I'm not going to be too sad. You don't always need to buy the tool or template. Sometimes you can find a way around it, or other times, like this, you can just make like a DIY version. I've also used those flexible cutting mats, like the kind you can get at the dollar store, and I've used those to make templates as well. But again, I made a version that was slightly more sturdy than a paper version, but it costs like basically nothing. These are some templates for quilting I bought to try out, and I still haven't used. So clearly I'm just buying way too many I bought way too many templates and tools. I do feel like I really need to figure out a way, to destash this probably to one of you. Just got to figure out a good way to do it. I mean, I just have so many of these like random templates and rulers. They do take up quite a bit of space to store, and that's another aspect, is that sometimes your sewing supplies can get so overwhelming because you just have way too much stuff. You don't even know where to put it. Like when I first started out, I bought Omni Grip rulers. Again, nothing against Omni Grip. They're not bad products. I just personally prefer the Creative Grids brand, but I didn't know about them at first. So I bought these early on. Like these were probably these Omni Grip rulers were the first ones I've ever bought. These are over probably about 10 years old. I feel like I just don't need all of this stuff, and I need to figure out how to unload it. If y'all have any helpful suggestions, let me know. I mean, I would give them away to people in my community, but like I don't think a lot of people like in my neighborhood are into sewing and quilting. Plus there's also like the security aspect. Meeting up with strangers is always a little bit dicey when you're doing like online selling or that kind of thing. But let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this particular topic? How many rulers and templates do you actually need? And if you could only have like one or two, which ones do you think are the most important, or the ones that you think are most critical for a new sewist or a new quilter to get? In my opinion, I don't know if you agree with this, I think the 8.5 by 24.5 inch Creative Grids, and then I just think that little flexible flexible roller. Like those two, I think you can do a lot with, but like look how big these are. They're bulky, they take up a ton of space. So I really do need to figure out what I need to do with this stuff. If you have any helpful suggestions, let me know down below in the comments, but I just wanted to have a chit chat and talk about this because it's been on my mind. Anyways, I really appreciate you watching this video. Feel free to check out some of my other ones here. I have a lot geared towards the beginner sewist. So if you're new to sewing machines and new to sewing and quilting, you're always welcome here. I'm Jen with the Sewing Report. I'll see you guys again in the next video. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.